Jeff Kohler, aka Option Addict, from over at www.tradingaddicts.com. You know, we got in front of a pretty cool setup last week that I blogged about over at Option Addict, where we saw a test of the 1040 lows here in the S&P, pretty similar to that of back at the end of May. Big rally off the lows. Next day, big rallies given up. Third day, big rallies yet again. And prices had a really strong close on Friday, getting above that 20-day moving average, which ought to push us up towards our upside price target here the next couple days at 1100. You know, what looks to be shaping up as a much bigger double bottom, that 1100 level, which is where we're probably going to see the first round of selling that comes in. If we get above that, and I think we've got plenty of upside left yet to be seen to the upside, I'm still looking at this from, again, from a longer term perspective here as a much bigger reversal pattern in the making, where I'm looking for eventually another get back towards about 1150, give or take. So that'll look something like this, kind of your standard head and shoulders type reversal pattern. But 1100 would be the first upside price objective. If prices can get above that and back above that 200-day moving average, then 1150 ought to be the next upside price target we see from there. So short term, heading into the week here, I'm bullish until we get up to 1100. I want to see how prices react there. I'll likely take off a few longs, but that'll be the next biggest battle I think that we'll see between the buyers and the sellers here, which ought to wage later on this week. 7 signs you want to keep an eye on. That will give you an idea as to whether or not the market's strong, weak, healthy. Keep an eye on BP. And if prices can at least stay stable here in shares of BP, naturally that's going to be better for stocks. At the end of last week, we saw some stabilization, kind of some capitulation selling, and then all of that loss we saw on Wednesday was reattained as of Friday. So BP kind of making its way back, really big volume, a lot of shares being traded there. Keep an eye on that. Also keep an eye on Goldman, which seems to have found some support down here in the 130, 135 vicinity. Keep an eye on that. I'm also including Apple in that as well. Happen to be long some calls on Apple here that we picked up last week. Apple looking really good, and I think just kind of a good, strong leadership stock that if we can see Apple continue to trade higher here, then the market will likely trade higher as well. Copper prices via the JJC, which is getting back above an important level, really strong close on Friday, and then also Freeport-McMoRan, which same thing, getting back above this old level of support, should act as new resistance. Prices getting back above that level without too much difficulty. So those are some other things you want to watch. Last but not least, the euro, which if you look at this close, we'll go to the euro US dollar pair here. We'll look at this. Let's go 20-day chart. Pretty good movement back above these old lows. And what we were looking for here on Friday was a higher low, which we saw. As of right now, price is getting back up into this old range, which is really good for just stocks in general. I like to see the euro climbing back up into this range, and if it can stay here, I think it's more likely to stay up in this range for a little while, and that low might have been the one that we'll see and could stand for at least several weeks from here. Last but not least, keep an eye on the yen, the FXY, and I'm watching this kind of a bigger setup here over the last few months. If prices break down, which it looks like they're starting to do here, if it gets back down beneath this level, then I think we'll see continuation higher in stocks, and we'll see that yen start to get back down to at least the FXY 107, 106, towards the end of the week into next week. So those are some of the things I want to keep an eye on. In terms of stocks and trade ideas, right now I think your best bet is to focus on relative strength. Look for stocks that have been up near some of their highs. Stocks that have really avoided a lot of this most recent sell-off. Those that stand out to me would be stocks like Las Vegas Sands, which we happen to own some calls on, or Wynn Resorts, right? I got a lot of little triangle setups that look like this here in Wynn that I think you ought to be watching this week. And I'll take you through a couple of those right now. So Wynn, that's one that I like. I like that a lot. I also like CMI, which broke out and has already kind of broken away from this triangle pattern. Yum Brands is another one, which hasn't quite gotten outside. Well, I guess it has, maybe just by a small amount, but pretty decent dip buying setup here. Looking for a rotation back up towards the highs. This little Rubicon, RBCN, that to me looks like another breakout. A stock that's up here near these highs, should be able to take out its highs, and that breakout move, when this thing prints 30, that'll be the move that you want to take profits and sell into, will be that breakout. Stocks like F5, FFIV looked really, really good on Friday. Should be able to make it up here to its highs at 73, and then of course break out, which will be that move you want to sell into. C-Trip, I like this one a lot. This one goes back. I have to get to the 1-year chart here, and you'll see that's not a decent spot to be a dip buyer here, looking for a move back up to 40, and then of course if it breaks out, look to sell into that. Other breakout candidates would include Continental Airlines, CAL. I like this Dr. Pepper Snapple, this little wedge, this little triangle, whatever you want to call it, this little consolidation up here near these highs. I think that looks pretty good. Discovery. This stock is just killing it. Love the look of this one here. That's another stock you want to look to buy here, and as it makes it move to a new 52-week high, look to sell into that. Last but not least, I've been hanging on to this guy for quite a while, but Mentor Graphics, MENT, should be a breakout candidate this week if stocks can stay up. And of course, I got some dip buying setups and some rip selling setups, so take a look at those. And that'll do it for me, guys. The one last thing I would point out here, and we've been talking a lot about this, would be the home builders right now. And I'll use Len as an example. I blogged about this last week, but the home builders are at some pretty important long-term levels of support. And I want to keep a close eye on how these trade, because if they can set up here, and this is a decent dip buying setup, again, Thursday we saw these stocks up 6, 7, 8% across the board. Strong reactions off the support level, and if it does hold and the home builders can start to rally from here, I know they've been weak, they've weighed the market down, but if they can stabilize and start to move up, I think that's a really, really good sign for stocks in general. So keep an eye on those builders. But that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks as always for watching. This has been the Option Addict. That's been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Bring the hook in.